Hello there. We're talking about the remote control on this droid today. The problem with remote control, or the actions of it, is that it's what they call toy grade. All it does, when you use the controller, you're not using a joystick, you're just pressing buttons. All that happens is, if you want to go forward, there's only one speed, full speed. If you want to go left or right, you go full left or right. There's no way of controlling. There's no way of controlling how much steering you've got, because there's just a motor in here that moves it all the way one way or all the way the other way. And again, with the speed, you go flat out in one direction or flat out in the other direction. There's no way of controlling it. So what we're going to do today is take the remote control out of this, and we're going to convert it to what they call a hobby grade remote control, using a proper remote control controller that will allow you to go slow, medium, fast, whatever speed you want. It'll allow you to go as much left and right as you want. So that's what we're going to do today. Well, for anyone who wants to see inside the Disney remote control, here it is. As you can see, left and right are just buttons. Forward and back are just buttons. There's no way of controlling how much these servo, well, it hasn't got a servo. There's no way of controlling how much these motors move. They move all the way to the right, all the way to the left, flat out forward, and flat out back. Here's the front suspension out of our mouse droid. It's controlled by this little motor. All it does, engages with the teeth in there, and it moves our steering all the way one way or all the way the other way. There's no way of controlling how much actually steering you have. It's always either all the way one way or all the way the other. Now, on a normal radio controlled car, the steering would be controlled by a servo. This is a servo, and as you can see, you can move it wherever you want. So you can have as much or little steering as you want. Whereas this toy grade remote control car, which is what our mouse droid is, can only go fully left or fully right. So what we need to do is replace this mechanism in here with a servo. That way we can control how much it turns. Now if we see in here, you can see this just as a great big pivot. Oh, you can't because my hands are in the way. But if you look closely, you take this pivot out of the way, you'll see a nice space in there. It looks to me very much like just the right amount of space for a servo to fit in and move our suspension back and two. So that's what I'm going to do today. What I've done already is I 3D printed this little bracket, which is going to hold the servo and sit it in there absolutely perfectly. Now, you don't have to have this bracket. You could just use double-sided tape. Double-sided tape, stick it in. It'd do the same job. The only thing is, if you use the bracket, it makes the servo easier to get in and out if you need it. If you need to take it out to replace it or anything. So, if anyone wants the file for this 3D print, it'll be on my Thingiverse page. I'll link to it below. But if you just type in modified Disney Mouse Droid, you'll find it. So what we have to do, sit that in there. Sit our suspension back on again, our steering, and work out a way of connecting this to this. Now it looks like it's going to be a fairly easy job. Again from Temu, I bought these little threaded rods with ball joints on the end. So if I chop one of these down, I'm going to be able to bolt one end to here, one end to here, and move the whole thing. I've screwed my servo into my little bracket and I've pushed it down into there. It's actually quite solid, but now this little nub here Can you see it? This little steering knob is touching my servo. So what I'm going to do, I could grind that off, or I could just swap this arm here the other way around. I've turned my arm around so the little nub's at the front, and now it's hitting this nylon gear in here. Now I'm not going to use this nylon gear, I was just leaving it in to save undoing 2 screws. But hey, let's take that out now. Now we've got full movement again. And so our rod, which can go from here to maybe about here, should give us full movement. Okay, I've got my setup working here just to prove that we don't have to be too technical. As you can see, I've just used a piece of white plastic with 2 holes drilled in it. I've drilled a screw into here, and so when I turn my steering, I get steering. And I can steer at any angle I want to, which was the whole point of this exercise. This is how I finalise my steering mechanism. I've got the servo, which is held in place by one of these brackets that I designed. Again, you can get this bracket if you wish for free off thingiverse.com. I've put a slot in the back here, and I've extended the front here so that the servo can fit all the way backwards. This little lump here, can you see it, sits in there and allows the servo to fit hard up against it. And these holes here mean that you can get at these bolts if you're going to bolt it in without disturbing the servo. But the servo, of course, screws in here with whatever screws you get with your servo when you buy it. So here's my servo in situation. Can you see it here? Still working. The servo wire I ran downwards through a hole that was already here, and I've brought it out of this hole here at the top. This is the top that you see inside. It sits that way round inside the mouse droid. So this, of course, can go straight to here. And then we've got the rest of the controls here going eventually to the rear axle. So with more than enough length of wires here, with more than enough capabilities to get this into the mouse droid and get it all hooked up. I'm going to screw it all back together because as far as I'm concerned, this is finished now. It's staying in there until the servo wears out, which will probably be never. These little links here are 2mm turnbuckles. Again, I bought them off Temu. They were only a couple of quid for, I think there was 8 of these and 2 massive great big ones of these. This is an extended rod here, an extended shaft for the servo. I wanted a little bit more leverage and I wanted it to be level with this. Again, I think this was £1.40 off Temu. So as long as you order everything at once, you get free shipping and everything's great. I'm going to fasten this on, put it back into the mouse droid, and hopefully then everything will be finished and running. So our steering and our motor are both connected up to our new remote control system, which is going to control all the steering and acceleration on this mouse droid. Okay, we've got everything connected up. Let's turn it all on. Whoa! We've got steering. Have we got power? Oh! So let's discuss our remote control system. This came off Temu again. I'm beginning to sound like an advert for Temu. This came off Temu. I think it was 12 quid. It included the handset, this little controller, and the speed controller. This is a receiver. That's a speed controller. The receiver connects to the servo for the steering, and it also connects to the speed controller. The speed controller controls how much throttle this thing gets, which is in turn controlled by this throttle position here. This is the steering. That wasn't expensive. The battery, I think, was about 12 quid off eBay. So we're not getting too expensive. You can buy a similar controller for this for about £18 off eBay. I bought it from Temu because it was cheaper. This is all going inside the mouse droid. Now, you may notice here, we've got some LEDs. Now, these LEDs are controlled by this controller. So I can connect the mouse droid LEDs directly to this little unit, and I can have them flash. I can even have them flash slowly or off. Here's the bottom of our mouse droid, freshly painted black. Here's our rear axle. This is very simply just going to sit in here. It's a little bit of a fiddle to get in. These pins point upwards, that's the way it goes. Motor on the right. Our front axle goes in that way round. And these two supports here to keep it going up and down. There we go. Now we put the springs on. And we sit the axle supports back down, locating the spring in here. Which isn't quite as easy as I thought it was going to be. Maybe this one is for this side. Yes, it is. Look, there's a little peg here that goes on there. So they're handed left and right. Wow. I was a lot fiddlier than I envisaged. But now we have suspension. We need a plate that goes on here, which is this one. No. There we have our suspension. Now I've got to decide where to put the remote control gear inside this mouse droid base. One thing that occurred to me, if I'm going to continue using this battery, it actually fit in there, which meant I could swap batteries at any time. Obviously I'll have to make a hole to fit my plug up. That's not a big problem. The battery can go in there, which I'm guessing was originally designed as a battery box. Let's face it. So we decided where the battery is going. The battery plug. Hello, what's that? Oh, I thought there might be a hole under there. I can just put a hole in here, no problem at all. That's the battery. Or if I wanted to leave a battery inside, I could just stick it down there with a bit of double-sided tape, or make a little bracket for it so I could swap it out. But I think the best place for it's in here, because then I can easily swap it out. Okay, battery sorted. Next is the remote control gear. Where are we going to put this? Well, almost anywhere is the answer. That looks good. This little speed controller can sit straight in the original battery compartment. That's where the original 6.4 battery went. The switch can fit straight in there, which is the original switch compartment. In fact, I could just screw it down there and have it there, exactly the same as the original switch. Wow. This can go here. That can plug into it. The battery will be able to plug into there. The motor will be able to plug into there. And my LEDs will be able to plug into here. I'll just have to make an adapter here to just put these connections on my original LED wires. I think that's pretty sorted out. I could even 3D print a little bracket to hold that down. And the same here, because I've got pickup points here. I could make a little bracket to go over there. Or you could just bend a piece of plastic or just use a piece of double-sided tape. Same here, double-sided tape, no problem. I might make a little bracket, I don't know yet. I think that's pretty conclusive, but that's all ready to go. Here's my switch now screwed in position, and I've decided to put the speed controller there because I've realised that I need the connector for the battery to be inside the battery box, or else how else do I change the battery? I can't. The receiver can probably just sit there. I'll probably just use double-sided tape or double-sided Velcro to hold these in position. There's no need to get too excited with them. So, the remote control upgrade is finally finished. I've had it out on the street and it performs faultlessly. It's far better than it was originally, and I love it. Now, in the next episode of this little series, I'm taking it to its first big event for a hugely crowded convention, and I'm also going to be featuring the frantic efforts the night before to build a transport box to take this thing to the event in. Stay tuned, folks.